Hey everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Braid. So in the last part of my Let's Play, I was actually mistaken. I said I'd be taking a brief break from this to find time to get all of the stars so I can unlock World 1. And in fact, you only need all of the puzzle pieces to unlock World 1, which of course I had done over the course of this entire Let's Play. So I figured, why not tackle World 1 right now while we have the opportunity? Well, it's still fresh in my mind, and then we'll take a brief hiatus as I find the time to actually pick up those stars, which sometimes does take an inordinately long time. So World 1, I hesitate to call it an epilogue because it's the only part of the game that really offers some sort of conclusion to the story that's been pieced together with the course of these books or tomes that we've been reading before each world. If you just finish the game without getting all the puzzle pieces, it just sort of ends and you're not really sure where to go from there. So by obtaining all of the puzzle pieces and then coming up to World 1 and completing World 1, which is actually not difficult, especially compared to the worlds that we've done thus far, you actually get some sort of conclusion to the game, which is really interesting. And in fact, there's one level in this world that actually is probably one of the best designed levels I have ever seen in my life. I was about to say could possibly imagine in my life, that's how good it is. But of course, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So first we have to deal with 3 levels that are actually pretty easy, and I guess kind of just serve to establish the atmosphere that we're going to have for the rest of this world here. This is a relatively short world, probably the shortest world in Braid. So what we're trying to do basically is just time is continually reversing. So we need to find a way to manipulate these hedgehogs, or put ourselves in a position where we can basically just bounce on these hedgehogs in order to get up to those doors to exit the level. Easy enough for these first 2. This next one is a little bit trickier, but still not that bad. This one took me maybe, 5 minutes to figure out on my own, which in Braid terms is not difficult at all. It's easy peasy. So we're just going to bounce on this hedgehog. Well, if I can time it properly, we're going to bounce on this hedgehog, get all the way up there to that middle platform, I should say. And then from here, we're just going to continually bounce. Eventually, we should be able to get enough leverage off of this guy in order to get up to the higher platform, where they can then bounce on this guy and then bounce all the way up to the door up here. And that actually worked much more smoothly than it usually does for me. And then here is Braid, essentially the showpiece of, if not this world, then, perhaps the entire game. So we can see that we've got the bad guy here, and he's carrying the princess that we've been going after all game. And now she's trying to escape. So basically, the conceit of this level is that her and us are doing kind of cooperative puzzles where, like, she'll need to hit a switch on the top in order to enable something for us on the bottom, or we'll need to hit something on the bottom to help her get through the top. So you can see here I've got to wait for her to hit this switch so I can get through. And that's basically the form that things are going to take over the course of this entire level. You can also see that there's, flames that are, seeking to pretty much end my life if I wait too long on the left side of the screen. The important thing is to always kind of trust, if not the princess, trust the level designer, or trust Jonathan Blow, that the game has been designed in such a way that it is never going to be impossible for you to finish it. Particularly since you have the ability to rewind time, of course. So we're going to do here, dodge the fireballs, and then we're going to come up, hit this switch so she can get through, and by her hitting this next switch, she will disable the fireballs so we can get through. I really like in platformers when they have levels like this where you have to outrun something that's coming in from the other side of the screen. Even, as far back as any Mario games that have side-scrolling levels. I'm into those. This is by far the hardest part of the level. What we have to do is, well, really I should be going back in time a lot further. We have to hit the switch fast enough that no hedgehogs end up in that impossible corridor. Because you can't jump there and avoid the hedgehog. So you've got to hit the switch fast enough that the hedgehog actually gets sucked up into the cannon. Which I think, if I go back a little bit further, this one should be able to do it. Yes, okay. But unfortunately, I shouldn't be bouncing on that hedgehog either, because it just sends me right up into the flame. Alright, this should be good enough. And so now she'll hit this switch so I can then go up here. And then, by all intents and purposes, we've kind of reached the edge of this level as soon as I can get past this piranha plant, which is actually going to be trickier than I expected. think I should be rewinding time and actually taking less pauses so I can come at it a little bit faster. Oh, and actually that was not a bad jump on my part. So we'll just wait for this one to go down. And then she will enter her fantastic loft here. Can't imagine how much rent is there. And then once we reach here, we've reached the end of the level. And here you might be thinking that we're at an impasse, we're not really sure what to do. Well, the only thing you can do is rewind time. So, by holding the shift key, it forces the game to be replayed in reverse at 1:1, so it's the same speed that we went going here. And this is where the genius of the level design really reveals itself, because although when we were moving forward, it made it look like the princess and we were cooperating in order to escape. Here, it becomes clear that actually she's trying to escape from us. And so, you know, everything we do is to kind of prevent her from running backwards, and everything she does looks like it's in an effort to keep us from moving forward towards her. So we'll see if we can find a good example of that. But if you just watch what she does, you'll understand. So here, yeah, as soon as we get up here, she's going to turn on this thing to send the fireballs at us, which is going to make it a lot harder for us to get down here. In fact, almost knocked us out right there. Although, of course it wouldn't, because we already played it through in the forward direction. Yeah, I really was blown away by this. Not only the first time I played it, but actually every subsequent time. Really, really genius level design here. I have to applaud Jonathan Blow. This is the kind of visionary stuff that masterpieces are made of. And I hope I'm not being too hyperbolic when I say that. So you can see she'll hit this switch here, which looks like it kind of blocks us from coming through. But yeah, with that switch we can get through again. And then as we reach the end of the level, it kind of unravels a little bit further. We can see this guy that she was trying to get away from. It's clear that she's actually looking to him for help. So he's saying, like, come down here, waving his hand, being like, jump to me. And of course, she's screaming for help. And then she actually does jump to him, and they escape from us. So I guess the entire point of Braid, in this ending at least, is that, you know, you've been chasing after this princess, but she doesn't really want any part of you, although, you know, the story has kind of been set up in a way to make it look like there was some sort of mutual attraction there, but really, you know, perhaps just an unrequited love, and you're kind of that creepy asshole who hits on her despite the fact that she doesn't want it. Of course, there's many interpretations of the game, so that might not even be canon, and Jonathan Blow has admitted that he will never reveal the secret of Braid because, you know, as with all good art, it should stand open to interpretation. But, you know, there's a couple of interpretations. One of them is that this is the story of essentially unrequited love. You love the girl, she doesn't love you. Another one, which you can kind of understand the inspiration for in a moment, is that this is all about Tim's quest, or I guess man's quest, to discover the atomic bomb, or discover the principles of nuclear weaponry, or nuclear power, really. And this next book is really what explains that, where they're talking about, you know, looking at the fundamentals of science, and then particularly the quote at the end that says, "Now we're all sons of bitches." It's actually a Robert Oppenheimer quote, and if you're not familiar with Robert Oppenheimer, he's a scientist who worked on the Manhattan Project, the development of the first atomic bomb in the United States. So yeah, the "now we're all sons of bitches" quote seems to tie into that nuclear interpretation quite well. But again, it's ambiguous. It's all open to interpretation, and I'd be happy to hear what you guys think in the comments, because, you know, no right or wrong answer. It's like English class. As long as you have good reasons for your thoughts, then it doesn't matter what you think. And then this next part here is the end of the game, basically. The end of the game for now, until we get all of the stars. You can see that Tim is building a castle out of all of the trinkets that we've gotten from the levels we've beaten. Like those blocks each represent one of the levels that we've completed. So, yeah, I gotta say, thank you guys for watching, and, you know, as I mentioned in the last part of the Let's Play, when I thought I was gonna take a brief hiatus from it, I will see you guys, you know, in a certain amount of time when I actually find the time to get all of these stars for you. As always, thanks for watching. Braid.